Welcome to Clause 8. You're watching a short clip from one of our full episodes, featuring real conversations with the leaders shaping IP.
Even before you joined Dolby, you've been around the world of standards and pools for a while. Mm-hmm. I guess taking a measure of this moment in time, where do you think we are? I guess, how are standards and pools doing?
Oh, it's a great question. Yeah, there's a long history, of course. They talked about it all day today. I think we are, well, pools are fantastic. I mean, a great democratizer of technology, you might say, putting it in the hands of everybody in an easy way. One-stop shopping would be the ultimate goal and the catchphrase for it. And I think we're at an inflection point, and I think that is probably a little bit of what was being said today. Pools really are, listen to our last speakers at least, a solution for many of the alleged problems in the market. And they've been quite innovative over the past few years, in my opinion. So I think they're poised well. They're taking a lot of heat in the press, particularly from, some governments and regulatory agencies. So they're not out of the woods yet, but they, I think, and I hope, are poised for great success.
So how does the heat now compare to, let's say, 10 years ago or 5 years ago or 15 years ago? What's the, you've been around it, so I guess what's the...
I think there's more pressure now. Well, regulatory agencies in particular, the LNG decision in Germany, you've got the European Commission. They did decide not to go forward with those regulations, but that was a lot of pressure. The UK has got, questions that they put out now talking, about transparency and things like that. So that's pretty high level and requires, I'm sure, a lot of time from the pool operators. 10 years ago, there were things they were addressing as well. There was I guess pools have probably always been under some pressure, but it seems to be coming from more fronts today.
Yeah. I guess in the beginning, they didn't want to allow pools, so that's the...
Yeah, you go back to 1997, pools, weren't necessarily allowed prior to that. Although there were some pools, but they came out, of course, with the business review letter that was instrumental in launching a lot of the modern pool industry, MPEG-LA in particular, if memory serves. And then 10 years ago, there was a lot of pushback against possibly charging content owners. That's resurfacing itself now, interestingly enough.
Well, we were discussing, I guess, the mood of the licensees maybe, and whether they have a growing appreciation for the role of innovators and pools and pool administrators. And you were giving your perspective, I guess, on that.
Yeah, well, another key point is you've got huge licensors now.
Yeah.
And they have a voice that, cannot be ignored, should not be ignored. And, they're like Huawei is a big player as a licensor in some pools that Dolby participates in. They're also licensee in a lot of pools. And they're going to be a major licensee. Most pools hope for any pool that's being formed around their technologies that are part of their products. So that's a big change, from my recollection, at least over the past several years, 10 years, it changes a lot of the dynamic.
You brought up that the idea of the patent pools is for it to be a one-stop shop, but I guess the complaint that you hear from implementers that it's not really a one-stop shop. That's what we promised, and then we have to keep shopping and shopping.
Right.
I guess, how do you see the ecosystem developing? You mentioned there's a panel with multiple pool administrators and new ones and new pool programs and so forth. How do you see that developing in the future, putting some of the policy stuff aside that we discussed?
I think one-stop shop is a great goal, and I think that to a large extent that happens with a lot of technologies. You can never pull in all the licensors, just practically speaking. Some of them have different goals and different objectives, and I've worked for some of those companies in the past. But it's a huge advantage in my mind, and I think in the licensees' minds, if you can pull together 70% of the stack, 80, maybe 90 sometimes. If it's only 15, you're probably not helping the licensees a lot, but I would still argue it's still easier than bilaterally negotiating with every single one of those licensors. So it brings the advantage in transactional costs, no matter how many licensors are in it. So one-stop shop's a nice catchphrase and it's a nice goal.